I think the challenge of getting something really personal and memorable out of somebody that you're interviewing on television requires that you truly, deeply be interested in them. And then if you can convey that quickly to them, they really open up, and there are moments.
Good evening and welcome to Chicago Tonight. Many of you may remember that as the original open to this program when it first went on the air in 1984. We chose it for this evening's broadcast as a tribute to John Callaway, Chicago Tonight's first host. Last night, as many of you probably know, John died of an apparent heart attack near his home in Racine, Wisconsin. He was 72 years old. For all of us here who knew and worked with him, it was devastating news. Tonight, we remember the man who was instrumental in the creation of Chicago Tonight, who was a legend in Chicago journalism and one of the finest interviewers in the country. We will share stories and memories of John as both a colleague and a friend, and we'll have highlights from some of John's best interviews. Rich Samuels begins with a look back at John's remarkable career.
This is Chicago Tonight, on the road, Wednesday, June 23rd, 1999, from the Winter Garden at the Harold Washington Public Library in downtown Chicago.
It was 10 years and 1 day ago that John Callaway stepped down as Chicago Tonight's host.
Good evening, I'm John Callaway, and welcome to this, my final regular broadcast of Chicago Tonight. It is personally as well as professionally appropriate that we're coming to you from the Chicago Public Library's Harold Washington branch in downtown Chicago because Mayor Washington was the first guest on Chicago Tonight back in 1984. Good evening and welcome to this first broadcast of Chicago Tonight. And Mayor Washington, thank you very much for being our first guest on this broadcast.
Chicago Tonight was born in the days of council wars. John Callaway's grilling of the participants in that drama revealed the depth of the struggle in a way that neither commercial television nor the newspapers could match.
I'm not a starry-eyed reformer. I am a hard-bitten, practical politician who says that there are certain specific areas which the chief executive's primary function is to protect the public trough and the people who have to use it legitimately.
Well, Chicago's on hold. And Chicago is not moving. Chicago has a lesser reputation throughout the city, throughout the country than what it had. It's not a world-class city anymore.
He refers to me and Alderman Verdoli as lunkheads. Well, we're not lunkheads. We understand what's going on, and I'd suggest that I've probably forgotten more about city government than he'll ever know.
The level of John Callaway's engagement with his guests was unmatched, and it was both give and take.
Yes, but I've got this press release here that doesn't have the dollars attached to the deductions.
Okay, we'll get you the dollars then.
Well, let's do it now.
I'm a state prosecutor. You know, I'm not a politician.
You're a citizen, too.
But I'm a prosecutor first. And that's what you have to understand. I got quite a bit of a responsibility and power over people. I could subpoena you or Bruce overnight if you become my enemy.
John Callaway was born on August 22, 1936. He grew up in a small town in West Virginia and claimed that he began moderating public policy debates at the age of 6 over the family dinner table. His father edited a conservative Republican newspaper. His mother edited the Society page. He attended Ohio Wesleyan University but dropped out after 3 semesters. He hitchhiked to Chicago, arrived here with just 71 cents in his pocket. He contemplated a career in the theater, but ended up signing on with Chicago's legendary City News Bureau.
At City News, they taught you a lot of stuff, but mainly they taught you to get the facts, all of the facts. They were and are so fanatical about accuracy. There's an old saying about the place. If your mother says she loves you, check it out.
Before long, he came to WBBM Radio and Television as a reporter and producer, and eventually news director.
WBBM News Time, 9:58. Traffic and weather together on the 8th. Bart, sure you have a great day.
BBM Radio's present all-news format was implemented by Callaway in the spring of 1968 on remarkably short notice.
We went all news in May. He got the word, as I remember, about a month before that we were to be the next all-news station in the CBS-owned station group after L.A. and New York. And he had a month to get a whole staff together to become an all-news station.
Callaway thrived on chaos. He essentially started All News Radio, and when it started, we were pretty much making it up as we went along. Sometimes the newscasts were being edited sheet by sheet as they were being handed to the anchor person. Callaway thrived on that. He certainly worked to iron out the system, but he didn't mind everything being up in the air.
For a time, he went to New York as a CBS News executive and as a national correspondent. He returned to Chicago as a reporter in 1973, first to CBS and then to WTTW, where he helped launch what was called the Public News Center, an ill-fated attempt to see if public television news could beat commercial television news at its own game.
Mayor Daley's death took everyone by surprise. Many of the people we've talked with said they were shocked by his death. He had appeared to be in good health, had made a tremendous recovery from that stroke of 2 years ago, and we just weren't expecting his death.
Far more successful were the interviews he undertook when the news center folded.
And this is a wonderful book, Studs, which has all kinds of confessions in it. I think that our viewers are going to be shocked to know that you nearly went to work for the FBI, that you were interviewed by the head of the FBI in Chicago.
That was 1934, was it?
Maybe in busy, complex lives, you need Elizabeth Taylor on the cover of Newsweek magazine this week.
But Chicago Tonight turned out to be John Callaway's highest calling, where he could not only be a television journalist, but a television performer.
As you watch John, I mean, his face talks, and his body language talks, and his enunciation and emphasis talks. And all of this really came out, and I think surprised him a little bit.
I've never seen so many people from Chicago on Bourbon Street.
John Callaway's career spanned at least 2 eras of broadcasting, and his work strongly influenced the way broadcast journalism is practiced in Chicago today.
I think his legacy is to be a permanent symbol of what journalism can and should be. His standards, his vision of hearing everybody's perspective, I think that's his legacy, and I hope young journalists will study his life, and I know they'll benefit from it.
Good evening and welcome to Chicago Tonight. This evening, free of charge, we're going to take you on a trip.
Here is how John Callaway saw his work.
I really want to learn. I want to bring people with me to learn. And so you just get up in the morning and you're engaged, whether it's the zoning board or whether it's a fire in Skokie. It is a part of the human condition. And that interests me unendingly. I'm John Callaway. Thank you and good night.
For Chicago Tonight, this is Rich Samuel.